Welcome. Oh, there it goes. Welcome, everyone, to Tabletop Tuesday, where basically I play some sort of random game while we talk about fun nerd stuff. So we got a couple announcements to get done before we get into the fun thick of everything, alright? And I do thank you for sticking around for the scuff. License here.
You okay there?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
What?
Nerd.
Nerd.
You're a nerd.
I'm a nerd, yep. Alright, just a heads up, there's going to be an ad break in 5 minutes, so I'm going to get the announcements done. We'll wait for the ad break to get done, and then we'll get into the lesson. Alright.
Sure.
So we have a new commands list. There you go. There's all the commands we have. Alright. So art list gives you a list of any of the artists we're attempting to support. Every time I die, you can do exclamation point dead, which counts track how many times I've died. Discord gives you a link to Discord. Donate gives you a link to our Ko-fi, so that way you can make sure that we keep the lights running here, because that is important and helps us make this quality content for you. Oh yeah, there's Fluffstorm. Is it Fluffstorm? I could have sworn it was No, Fluff Swarm.
Fluff Swarm, yes.
I forgot.
We had this issue the other day.
Fluff Swarm. I forgot about that. I'll have to make sure to add that. Alright. So there's that. Now, the lesson today will be Warhammer 40k. We're going to be going over the Blood Angels, because that's what won the vote on Twitter. At the end of this lesson... Yeah, woo! Gandagamera is excited. At the end of this lesson, Nadja will pick 4 more options. She can pick 3 of the same from last time if she wants, or she can pick 4 other options, depending on what she hears in this lesson, and decide what we want you guys to vote on. Okay? So please keep that in mind. We still do have our sponsors, which is Shockbite Gaming Servers and W Energy Drinks. Shockbite Gaming Servers has a bunch of friggin' games they cover. They start at a low price of $2.50 a month. They have 95% uptime, and I've never had an issue with their customer service. So, huzzah.
Yep.
W Energy Drinks. They taste great. I'm a big fan of the Galaxy Grenade. I will say I don't put a lot of faith in their shakers. I've given them a try, and they tend to leak a little bit, so I don't know. The shaker cups your stick. I would just say, hey, buy them at your risk. But other than that, man, their drinks are amazing. Go with that. So, yeah. Remember, on our Ko-fi for one of the rewards on our Ko-fi, if you donate to every month, is access to our Minecraft server. So please, if you want to get access to that, we're using all the mods 8, I believe. So
yep.
That helps out. Alright. Now, we also have, by the way, Twitch Toolkit going on for Rimworld. As long as you talk every 30 minutes, like type something in chat every 30 minutes, you will have max rewards coming in, and you can use those points to basically buy things. That's what the Rim Store command is. But also, if you want to know how much points you have, you type in exclamation point balance, like I did there, and it tells you how many points you have, what your karma is, and the rate at which you're getting things. See? Ta-da! And everybody starts at 200 points. I believe it's 200 is the start.
40k friend.
Oh, come on! Why does this keep...
Unfortunately,
okay, something keeps blowing up here, and it's kind of pissing me off. I do not know why this is blowing up all the time. And it's kind of aggravating me, because it's one of my power sources.
Snack bin was what we meant, child. Not
Alright.
cookie.
Sorry, that's annoying. That is really annoying.
Your face.
I don't know what's causing it to explode. It's not... It's overheating. So why is it overheating? Alright.
How did you rub your elbow on the carpet hard enough to give yourself a rug burn, child?
Alright, I'll let that do its thing. With Twitch Toolkit, there'll be little things that pop on the bottom. They'll say 1, 2, or 3. You can vote that way. Alright. So
Jumped off a step
now we're
on
going to
the
wait
boob
for the
and
ad break to finish. And once that's done, then we'll get into the lesson.
Are you supposed to jump off your bunk bed? So you understand why mommy has no sympathy for this?
Kids will be kids.
Yep.
Is the ad break happening?
I don't know. I'm subscribed, so I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
And Mr. Kitty and Mr. Gamera are teaching me.
I don't see the timer for the ad break. Okay.
Okay.
We'll take it. Alright. So now I'm going to do this. Now, while it seems like the screen's changed a little bit, it's because we are going to be talking about Warhammer 40k, and I'll be bringing over pictures like that. Alright?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me warm up my coffee.
Yeah, she's warming up her coffee, so give her a minute.
It's only
Nope.
fair.
There he goes. Now the ad break starts. Are you kidding me?
Get down, Brenna.
Oh,
Get down.
god damn it, Twitch.
Let me have my chair back.
Brenna, this
That's
is probably
alright.
not something you
I need
should be
this.
watching.
By the way, fun fact, did you know that Rimworld is banned in Australia?
Why is Rimworld banned in Australia?
Alright, so Rimworld was banned in Australia because it involves making your own religion, cannibalism, and heavy amounts of drug use.
I mean, that's a fair dinkum.
Yeah. Hi.
Meow.
Meow.
Does he light up every time I talk?
Hmm?
Does he light up every time I talk?
Yes, because it's picking up your voice.
There's a cup by the edge of the sink so that are clean.
The microphone is right there, and it's very sensitive. It will pick up your voice really easy.
Your cute little voice.
Can you please pour me some milk?
Oh, fun fact, while we're waiting for the ad break to start. Did you hear that there are several young people who are attempting to ban Eminem's music from being played on like public radios and stuff?
Huh. I mean,
Their statement was it is violent and hateful.
yeah, it is.
I was like, yeah, they're not wrong, but that's kind of the point. But what makes it funny is they want the song that they've been mostly focusing on was something he did in 2010,
Okay.
Go to bed,
not his
Danny.
early work, which was
Right.
way more violent and way
Daniel Patrick, go to bed.
and had more issues.
Go to bed. Now.
Interesting.
If I get up,
It's like
you're gonna be in trouble.
I looked at the song they were like losing their mind over, and I forgot the name of the song. I was like, I listened to the lyrics, and I was like, oh, sweet summer child, you don't understand. Like his earlier work was way worse than this.
Well, and to be fair, I think Eminem has even disavowed at least one of his own songs where he's like ragging on his mom because he realized belatedly that she has mental health issues and, she got treatment for those. So now he feels bad for having, essentially slandered her.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't talk.
So apparently he does not perform that one anymore. At least that's what I've been told.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so now we're back finally.
Ta-da!
Yay, we're back.
Shady's back again.
Okay. So let's so Naja does not have a lot of experience with 40k. She knows of its existence. She's heard us reference it on a few times, and she does understand Inquisition's entrance is a 40k reference.
Yeah.
Meow.
All right. in particular because my daughter screamed out that phrase in gym class in school.
Yeetus, the latest!
Not that one, Rose.
Oh, the other one?
The blood for the blood god.
Blood for the blood gods, go! Let us go!
Okay, Brenda, I need you off me, please. Please.
Hug.
No, ma'am.
Hug.
Okay, there you go. Please go. You are getting and moving my chair violently, child. There's a reason why I keep the parent tag on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
For that very reason. Alright. So let us talk about Warhammer 40k. Alright. So Warhammer 40k is set in the 41st millennium. Alright?
Yep.
Alright. So congratulations. You're just a little smarter now about it.
Hey, I learned something new.
Oh,
By the way, my daughter's expecting you guys to give me a grade on how good of a student I am.
Okay.
So apparently there's going to be an exam at the end of this class.
Yeah, I hadn't prepared a quiz, but we'll see what we can do.
I'm
All
going
right.
to kill my wife.
So, yes, the mains. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no. Anne
By
literally...
kissing their boo-boos and slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo.
Anne came up behind me and played the face hugger sound. Right behind me.
Wow.
I love my wife. I love my wife. I do not want to kill my wife.
I love your wife. I love the fact that she tortures you.
Okay. Kids, go away. Now I'm overheating. My sweater is too hot. Oh, can I get it off my arm first, child? Oh my god.
You're taking your sweater off, and I just got a blanket.
what is
What is wrong with this picture?
Fear response, increasing my heat levels. Alright.
All right. So, are we ready to get into brass tacks, so to speak?
Yeah, let's get into brass tacks. Alright.
Let's go!
Alright, so Warhammer 40k is set in the 41st millennium, alright?
Yep.
Humanity is a xenophobic, hyper-religious...
So, I'm sorry, but our daughter wanted to see you jump.
Okay, fine. Why is Wyson helping?
Face hugger! Face
Can you
hugger!
guys please stop doing that? Oh, we're in the
I am
way.
also a fan of Liza.
We're in the way for that. Alright, I need to put that up there. Go ahead and vote 1, 2, or 3 about which disease I end up getting. The flu, gutworms, or muscle parasites.
Ooh, let's give him the flu. All right, yes. Warhammer 40k,
Ah, so it's
41st millennium.
Let's actually start. Alright, so humanity is a xenophobic, hyper-religious empire that are likely to kill each other just as much as kill their enemies. And they are fighting everybody.
So, Catholic
Yeah.
Church on steroids.
All right. Now-
The mantra of the 41st millennium is in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, which is exactly as pretentious and edgelordy as it sounds.
But they did that on purpose.
Exactly. As we were talking a little bit before stream, this was originally intended as kind of a mockery satire of like dark futures, and then slowly most of the humor kind of drifted away as they took it seriously, and so the last vestiges of the humorous elements are really in the orcs, which are a very fun faction.
We'll talk about them later.
Yes, we will.
All right. So the main faction that we're going to be discussing, mostly involving today, is the Imperium of Man, which is humans. All right.
Yes.
Humans are normal size, people. There are worlds that have them in the billions, if not trillions,
Yes.
and there's a crap ton of worlds that have this human population. So when we say like millions of people die a day, it's not that big of a deal for an empire of this size.
Yeah.
Like they don't care.
Got it.
Yeah, there are hundreds of thousands of human inhabited worlds in the galaxy.
Under a billion is kind of meh to them.
They humans are actually weirdly one of the swarm factions in a way. They outnumber most of the other factions that are their enemies, with one or two notable exceptions.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, You have humans, which are like somewhere between average human height, 5 to 6 feet. Then you have space marines, which are like
Yes.
7 to 8 feet tall, and
Yeah.
are like 400 pounds, and they have enough metal to coat them to make a Range Rover.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a
Give her
number
a
of.
second. She was
yeah.
trying to say something, and I missed what she said.
That's not comfortable. That doesn't sound
Yeah, I just said that doesn't sound comfortable.
Yeah, no. They're genetically modified, so they have like 2 hearts, 3 lungs, night vision. Like they're big hulking dudes, and they are not like at all the proper size.
So are
we adding Enrico the genetic opera to this?
I guess so. I mean, and here's one of the interesting things, and we'll get a little bit more into this as we get into the history lesson. Space Marine, the creation process for a Space Marine, like normally you think, okay, it's a super soldier, so it's like a Captain America type thing, or maybe they're grown. But in actuality, you take a normal human, usually they take them in their early teens, I believe, and you start implanting these custom grown organs into them. And if they survive the implantation process long enough, they become a Space Marine. And there are, like, I think 19 custom organs that a Space Marine possesses.
Yeah. To give you an idea, as soon as it loads, god dang it. Okay, don't. That's not what I wanted.
Do we have a percentage of how many people actually survive this process?
They have given that figure, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. It is not, like, super high, but sometimes you can fail the process without dying as well. There are, like, failed Space Marine aspirants who have received some of the organs but did not die.
Yeah, to give you an idea, like, the Blood Angel story that I heard, that when I was researching the Blood Angels, over 5,000 applicants went in. Give it a second, roll into this.
No kiwi.
Pestering here.
Because they're missing gelatins.
Alright.
I'm not even sure that they're right yet.
So like 5,000 applicants went in, and like 7 came out.
Yeah.
I
don't like those odds.
Well,
No.
Welcome to the grim darkness of the future, where like the cheapest material cost is basically human flesh.
I see at least one reference that the success rate for creating Marines is about 1%.
What 1%? So 1% of the people who go in come out as Space Marines.
And it's only men.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
men.
Yes. That is an important point to make. The I guess I don't know if it was done for like humorous intentional reasons or if it was done just because macho war game bullshit. But yeah, Space Marines are all men.
Okay, so I have a question that I'm not 100% clear on, so I'm just going to ask. So, do people volunteer to be a Space Marine, or is it just are they volunteering basically?
Depends on the chapter.
Yes.
It completely depends on one of the 20 chapters and how they behave. Now, mind you, 2 of the 20 don't exist.
Yeah. So yeah, side note on that, we will talk about the Primarchs and the chapters and whatnot, but basically there were 20 defined by number, and then GW intentionally said these 2 do not exist, so you can create your own, come up with your own lore. As far as the official stories go, something, quote unquote, happened to those 2 chapters, and their records have been wiped from history. So we have 18 Space Marine chapters, some of which are nice about recruiting, some of which are not nice about recruiting.
Now, I wanted to point that out because part of the Blood Angel story will involve the possibility of going missing.
Going missing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we talking like every contract and shit?
Like kind of like they're gone.
Okay.
Like, they almost got redacted.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, the
So-
Blood Angels almost
so-
got like the axe.
Yeah. Now that is the picture you're seeing on Discord.
Welcome, traveler.
Welcome, Chelsea Girl 855 to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun, and don't fireball my goddamn tavern. All right. Now that's the difference between a human and a space marine. If you're looking at the stream, that is the difference.
As I was trying to tell
It
you, there are
is
no bullets left
massive.
in this gun, you see?
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, there are space marines. Then there are the Primarchs. Primarchs are like 8 to 9 feet tall. All right.
I would say even taller, actually.
Well, no,
it depends on the Primarch.
I was gonna say Vulcan is 10. Most of the other Primarchs are around 8 to 9. Bedtime for me working, so I'm leaving my PC on. No problem, Mez. You have a great night. Let me make sure you get your shout out real quick. All right.
Let's see.
That's that. Then we have the Primarch's dad, which is the picture I'm showing now.
Como,
Is he
como.
supposed to look like
I mean,
Jesus?
just look at you. You
Kind
look
of.
like the oasis to some very, very thirsty travelers.
Let me switch back over to your image. So, yeah, we'll get into the Emperor's history a little bit. He may intentionally, resemble Jesus.
I'm gonna do like a quick cover of him because that will be a later discussion to go really deep into him. But he is a 10, 11 foot, sometimes some described as 12, god. Like, he has a big flaming sword. He has that glowing effect. There's magic in this setting. It's called psychics, or what is it?
I mean, it's a function of the warp or immaterium.
Which is
Psychers, they sometimes call it sorcery.
Yeah. The nickname for him, as Ulster just pointed out, is Big E.
Big E, yeah, that's
Yeah,
one.
Big E is one for him.
Big Smalls?
Well, no, he is referred to in the setting as the God Emperor of mankind.
Yes.
He has immense psychic powers.
Oh, he's so humble then.
No, wait, we're gonna fix that real quick, all right? Because this is
Yeah.
important. Big E hates religion. He is
Yeah.
violently atheist.
Yeah.
Like, he is so violently atheist that when someone tried to make a religion of him while he was still up and about, he scourged the entire city out of existence.
Yeah.
Wait. Did you just say when he was still up and about?
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting the spoilers, man.
Well, no, I was going to quickly cover that, because we have to cover the Horus Heresy. Alright, because that's important for the Blood Angels. Because they were a big part of the Horus Heresy. Like, a really big part.
Yeah.
Alright, so Big E, he's just a head guy. He's really big, really strong. Got a lot of cool magic powers. Alright? Boom. Bob's your uncle. This is what he looks like now. He is barely alive.
And not because he wants to be.
And not because he wants to be. We are going to discuss what happened to him to make him this.
I'm just so stunned by the picture that I literally don't even have a chance to fight.
You do not need that, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like Vulcan's almost 12 feet, and he is about the third or fourth tallest Primarch.
Really? I thought he was the tallest.
No, God no. Magnus is the tallest.
But yeah, but Magnus doesn't have a physical form.
He certainly did,
At one point.
and he certainly can still.
Yeah, that's true.
But it looks like the charts that I'm seeing have Ferris Manus as number 2 and Vulcan just behind Ferris.
Okay, that could be making sense. All right. So,
So are they both like mummy here, death is only the beginning?
usually for most, no. But in this case, for Big E, yes, he is stuck on this golden throne, and his job is to maintain something called the
Astronomicon.
which is basically big psychic lighthouse, so that everybody can travel through hell, which is called the warp, to fast travel. So think of it like nether travel through in Minecraft. You know how like everything is closer together in the nether? That. You're going through literally hell to fast travel.
All right, let's back up for a second, because I feel like we're getting into specifics way too quickly, and we need to give not just some context here.
Okay.
And I think I want to start with the warp.
Fair enough. Go with that.
The warp, or the immaterium, as some call it, is, if you think of it as like the astral plane, that's probably the closest like other reference I've heard to a similar thing. It is a parallel dimension to the material world that is reactive to thought and emotional energy. So the thoughts of every sentient being in the universe shape the immaterium.
For good and for ill.
For good and for ill. And it used to be that the immaterium, or warp, was relatively calm, but eons ago there was a war between great powers of the galaxy before humanity was even a blip, and one of those factions knew how to manipulate the warp, and they essentially weaponized it. And ever since then, it has become more chaotic and prone to just, destructiveness. So one of the things that happens is, if enough people believe something, it can now manifest. And there are certain people in the setting who have a natural connection to it, and they're called psychers or sorcerers. They can actually channel the energy of the warp to do things. But the flip side of that is that there are wholly sentient beings that were created in the warp by these like reflections of the things going on in the galaxy. So you have what are called demons, and you have the chaos gods. We talked a bit about those earlier. We have Korn, the god of violence and murder. We have Slanesh, the god of excess and hedonism. We have Zinch, the lord of change. We have Nurgle, the god of disease and rot and decay. And these are sentient beings that have absolutely no physical presence, except on the rare occasion when they project themselves into the material world. They exist as warp entities, and therefore are very difficult to truly destroy. Basically, if you fight them in the material plane, the best you can do is banish them for a while, with rare exceptions. So, yeah, and as Ruby was saying, that's what they use for faster than light travel. The way FTL works in the setting for almost every faction is that they essentially put up a field that moves their ship physically partially into this warp and move through it and then back into the material world, using, in most cases, the light of the Astronomican as kind of a waypoint. Like, that's where Earth is. We were heading this way at this angle from Earth. That's where we're going.
All right. So we've done that. Now, remember how we mentioned the 4 Chaos Gods? All right?
Yes, got it.
Sorry.
With a sword in one hand and a
Faye Fox
harp in
is
the
here.
other, shouting
Hey,
my
Faye.
greatness from the rooftops, laying
Hi,
bitches
Faye
and
Fox.
slaying witches. Or is it laying witches and slaying bitches? I can't quite remember. I was too busy giving the tavern owner a
Okay,
reason
type
to
today
stay
would
in
be
business.
I can't see chat
You can't see chat? I will read chat out for you.
because like that's all I can see is that screen.
Yeah. All right. So there was this event that occurred where the Chaos Gods decided to corrupt half of the Space Marine Primarchs.
See, you're frustrating me because you're skipping ahead, man.
Well, no, it's just this just we just basically covered the thing. We're just going to do a quick overview of the Horus Heresy. It's not going too deep into it until we start talking about the Blood
Okay.
Angel effect in the Horus Heresy. So
Okay, I'll back up and get the details.
Yeah, we'll circle back to it. Just let me cook.
Okay.
Let me cook.
All right.
All right. So the main thing is the Chaos Gods corrupted a couple of the Primarchs, the big, his sons, and got them to turn on Daddy, essentially. And half of them joined the side of Chaos, the other half stayed loyal to Dad, and they eventually duked it out. All right? Which created this, whole family kerfuffle. The best way to describe this is like a super violent Thanksgiving dinner where someone brought up politics and basically screaming, shouting, and
Meryl's
burning
a
has
sweet
begun.
girl, but there's a whole lot of crazy in that little package.
In all the
Hi,
time you've
Squidgy.
known me, have
Hey,
I
Squidgy.
ever given you the impression
Wow.
that I was turned off by crazy?
Okay, point taken.
Now, the Primarchs are just literal.
Literal,
Is that
that's
correct?
Yes.
DNA,
DNA,
literal.
Yes.
Children.
Yes.
Okay.
He did make these kids in a lab, though.
Yes.
He did not engage in the activity that creates children. We have children around. I have to basically find a way to say what I want to say without saying it outright. Shut it.
So, asterisk there. Theoretically, he might actually have some natural-born children. There is some ambiguous aspects of the lore, but the Primarchs are not his natural-born children.
All right, but they all have a trait of him.
Yes.
Some are equal to him in some areas. Like they have a
Yes.
specialty. If they have a specialty in it, they may be equal to him in that. But they are not overall equal to him. So, like, for example, the Primarch we're going to be getting into now, because he's the Primarch of the Blood Angels, Sanguinius.
Yes.
Sanguinius. Yes. Yes. I just watched her face palm. All right. Sanguinius is beautiful.
So is it
like Dracula?
Like, that's not how bad the name is.
Give me a second. There's Sanguinius.
He's cute.
He is supernaturally hot. Like there's another image of him kind of depressed.
I actually really like that image though. That's nice.
There's him in the battlefield.
I don't like
Yep.
I don't like that one as well.
Yeah. There's him like up close.
Oh, he's pretty.
Oh, that's a different guy. Okay. So Sanguinius is big. All right. He was honestly considered second to the Emperor in a lot of ways. Like when everything went down and everybody thought the Emperor was dead at one point during the Horus Heresy, they all looked at him.
Yeah, we'll probably get into this more as we circle back through, but basically, amongst this group of 18 squabbling brothers, the one that they all like was Sanguinius. Like, he was the guy. He's like, oh yeah, we can't hate him. He's the best.
Yeah, we really can't hate him. He, like he said, everyone loved him for various reasons. So much so that Khorne was constantly whispering in Sanguinius' ear, like, give in to your rage, give in to your anger, join me, I'm all about blood. You like drinking blood? I'm the blood god. I have an infinite supply, buddy. Come on. And Sanguinius never joined him.
Yeah.
All right? To give you that idea. Now,
Question.
Are we talking
literal?
Yeah, like glug, 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 glug.
Oh, okay. Just so Dracula vampire.
No.
Yeah, the Blood Angels, and Sanguinius especially, if you wanted to choose two words to describe them, the first word would be angel, the second word would be and kind of vampire.
And kind of vampire.
Now, Sanguinius wasn't as affected as some of his descendants are by the thirst for blood. He was subjected to the so-called red thirst, but his legion they got it bad.
They did get it bad. So much so that before his legion ran into him again, because he went missing for a bit, then there's Goofy Scottish Gator setting fire to my damn tavern.
Yeah.
Faye says, I probably learned more about life and other stuff in school than my parents. That's fair. Fucking hate. Facehugger sound.
Yep.
Hey, Goofy. How are you doing, my dude? So, Sanguinius went missing for a bit before the Horus Heresy. His
As I was trying
chapter
to tell you, there are no
was
bullets
referred
left in
to
this
as,
gun,
I
you
think,
see?
evidence.
Well, yeah, I'm going to circle back into more detail on that, but basically, Actually, if you don't mind, let me go ahead and cover briefly the Emperor up to the Primarch project, because that'll make this make more sense.
Yeah, sure. Have at it, man.
So, back on primitive Earth, there were a number of people who were talented at sensing the warp and the immaterium. There were psychers, they were shamans, they were spiritualists, and they realized something, that these demons and gods in the warp feed on the souls of people with psychic talents like themselves. They had become aware that when they died, their souls were becoming hors d'oeuvres for these creatures. And they came up with a plan. Their plan was to conduct a ritual to essentially kill themselves, but unite their spirits into one essentially super psyker soul, and then reincarnate through the ritual to a new fused individual that would be able to resist the powers of the warp no matter what. And that is currently the supposed origin of the Emperor of Mankind. He is essentially a fusion of a number of early primitive Earth psychics and shamans that combined their powers to form Captain Planet and basically become this super duper psyker. And after that, he kind of laid low for a while. There are some suggestions in some of the novels that he's this historical figure or that historical figure, like Jesus or Alexander the Great or, this and that. But basically, we don't have another confirmed sighting of the Emperor until, 25,000 AD, 30,000 AD nearly, because he kind of let humanity do its own thing. And we had humanity spread out amongst the stars. They settled all these worlds.
He's 10 shamans in a trench coat.
Yeah, he's 10 shamans in a trench coat. So yeah, humanity had this great galactic empire, and two things happened. One, there was an AI rebellion. The so-called Men of Iron, basically intelligent robots, rebelled against their human masters. And two, a great storm in the warp filled the galaxy, and that cut off easy, faster-than-light travel. So this great big spread of humanity was suddenly divided back into little islands, and Earth fell into a post-apocalyptic, territorial gang war across the face of the planet. And the Emperor's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm going to get involved now. Let's do some stuff. So he started working on his big projects, and the first job was to unify Earth. And then he was going to reunify the human empire. And to do that, he started working on some particular creations. Now, his first ideas were the Thunder Warriors, which were early super soldiers, not as stable as the later Space Marines, but brutal, efficient, allowing him to kind of unify the planet. And then there were his Custodian Guard, or the Custodes, which each one of those, instead of being able to be mass-produced like Space Marines or Thunder Warriors, every Custodian is essentially a bespoke work of alchemical and genetic art, just handcrafted. You can't turn a normal person into a Custodian. You basically, I think he has to modify them in the womb to get the appropriate material. And so he unified Earth, and one of the things that he did in unifying Earth, because the Emperor was aware of the dangers of chaos, is he took a two-pronged approach. One, he cast down all religion, because he knew if enough people believed something, it could manifest from the warp and expose them to the dangers of the warp. And two, he kept people ignorant of the warp in general, even from a scientific perspective, because he didn't want people messing with the warp. And that two-pronged approach was ultimately what's going to get him in trouble.
Because, let's be brutally honest, Big E is a great guy and all. He is possibly earning the award for possibly the universe's shittiest dad.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Once his Thunder Warriors and Custodians had united Earth, like I said, he was like, okay, I'm going to go reconquer this entire human empire. So he started on the Primarch Project and the Space Marine Project. He wanted to craft himself 20 perfect sons of varying stripes, using some of his own genetic material, but customized in one way or another. And then for each one of those sons, he would create 100,000 warriors in their image, basically using their genetic material as the basis to create these warriors that would be more stable and useful than the Thunder Warriors. And so that's where we kind of catch up, and he makes all these different Primarchs, all these Space Marines, but the lore is unclear about this next part. Either he had to make a deal with the Chaos Gods to get some of the knowledge he needed, or the wards he placed around the Primarchs failed because just as they were ready to essentially come out of their growth tubes, chaos struck and scattered them throughout the galaxy. So his 18 sons were scattered. Well, I say 18. I should asterisk that because we'll probably get into why it's 19 later on. And actually it's 21 because of the two that are missing.
Yeah.
Scattered across the galaxy. So he's like, well, shit. I've got all these space marines. Let's go out hunting. Let's go find my sons. Let's reunite humanity and get it done. And a lot of the Space Marine legions, the 100,000 for each Primarch, they got along pretty good without their Primarch. They were stable. They were happy. Well, happy as, born and bred soldiers can be.
They were adjusted.
Yeah, relatively well adjusted. But, as he was saying, the Blood Angels, or as they were called at the time, the Ninth Legion, that was their first name, were not. They would feast on the corpses of those that they killed in battle. They would drink the blood not only of enemies, but sometimes they would become frenzied and drink the blood of allies. So they got turned into essentially shock troops. Like, if it was deadly, if there was no hope of survival, if they just needed something to throw in a meat grinder, they called the Ninth. And despite the shit they got thrown into, they apparently developed a knack for surviving anyway, and that's how they got the name the Revenant Legion, because they were always seemingly rising from the dead. It's like, oh, we thought 12,000 of you died. Nope.
And what made it even worse is the fact that, like, there was another group they worked with, which is the Iron... God, what was it? Not the Iron Warriors. I just had it in my head.
Are you talking about the World Eaters?
No, Perturabo's group.
Oh, Perturabo is the Iron Warriors, yeah.
Iron Warriors, okay. So, the Ninth Legion, which was the Blood Angels, were often paired with the Iron Warriors, who always got the shittiest jobs. Like, straight up the worst. It got so bad with the Ninth Legion that the Imperium, mind you, this is when their technology was improving still, like they were making headway.
Yeah.
The Blood Angels got the crappiest gear.
Oh, yes.
They got the hand-me-downs, because they're like, we want these guys gone. And they just kept surviving. And it got so bad in some areas that other legions would see what they do and go, fuck it, torch the whole planet. No one can know these guys exist. Kill everything. Like, no! Like, we can't let them know there are guys like this who are part of us. No!
Yeah. And to be clear, like, the Imperial forces think nothing of basically exterminating an entire planet if that's the way it needs to go. They're not super worried about their reputation, but even with that, the Blood Angels, or as they were called, the Revenant Legion at the time, it's like, these guys might be a PR problem.
You're talking about a group, an empire, that's willing to sacrifice millions of people a day just to keep the trains running and the gears turning and all that jazz. And they looked at these guys and went, we need to contain this.
Yes.
It's that fucking bad.
And as Ruby said earlier, they were on the verge of being, like, written off, redacted, like, we might just need to put all these guys down. They're that far gone. But then they came across the irradiated hell world of... Now, I'm going to say Baal, but it could be pronounced Baal. It's B-A-A-L with no apostrophe, so it's not Baal like the Sumerian. So it's either Baal or Baal, depending on your preference.
I've heard Baal most often.
Yeah. And basically that's the planet on which Sanguinius had landed when he was cast into the warp. Now, it's not clear how much of what makes up Sanguinius was changed by his trip through the warp, but his characteristics that make him kind of superior in different regards are: one, he has wings. None of the other Primarchs actually have wings. He is a physical mutant.
I think I should.
Yes.
Well, I choke on my lungs here. He has full-on angel wings, as you can see.
Yes.
He flies with those.
He flies with those. He is a full-on mutated individual, which in Imperial standards is generally not permitted, especially in the 40k era. He also like all of them, all the Primarchs have different levels of psychic gifts. Some of them are fairly minor. Sanguinius is kind of a moderate psychic gift, but his was specifically foresight. He could see the future. And go ahead.
I want to mention this about Future Sight, though, real quick, right? Because this is important about how Future Sight works in 40k. It is not a guaranteed future. You see possible futures.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense.
All right? Now, this is important because Sanguinius sees the most likely future. All right? That's just his shtick. When we cover one of his brothers, he always sees the worst option. All right? That's important. But Sanguinius always saw the most possible future. So much so that Sanguinius saw his death before it was going to happen. And so his battle cry quickly became, "It is not my place to die here."
Yeah.
As he's this, almost 10-foot tall dude with a big honking sword is flying at you.
You guys need to talk to your dad.
Yeah.
He's flying at you at full kilter, ready to murder you, and he's screaming this, and what goes through your head is like, if it's not his place to die here, is it mine?
Right.
Like, shit, man. It's like, this is gonna go bad.
Thank you.
And the third thing that kind of makes him stand out is that red thirst, that desire and impulse to drink blood.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, I do want to point out one thing about when he meets his chapter.
Yes, that's where I was going next.
Oh, sorry, I did. Okay, go ahead.
No, I basically, his chapter and he are meet, and normally the way this goes is like a Primarch and their chapter are introduced, and they're like in awe of their Primarch because they sense their genetic kinship, and they'll like swear their fealty to their Primarch, recognize him as kind of a father. When Sanguinius met the Revenant Legion, he swore fealty to them, like just absolute Chad of a guy.
Now, what made it even funny... Oh, go ahead, because I could see you're about to talk. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was talking to Nadja, because she looked like she was about to hit the button to talk, and I was like, okay. What made this even more interesting is, for almost a year, he followed them around. He watched what they did. And he would give minor little critiques here and there. Nothing, like, major, not commands, just like, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that. But he never outright commanded them. Until after a year of being with them and earning their respect, then he started giving them orders, and they full-on listened.
Yeah. He taught them to temper their bloodlust with wisdom, to channel some of their darker impulses into finer art, weapon design, music. One of the
things about the Blood Angels that you need to understand. Remember how we mentioned there's a gothic aesthetic to the whole Imperium?
Yeah.
All right. The Blood Angels are that excessively because imagine, okay, you're very angry, you have rage issues, you really need something and someone gives you a creative outlet for that. And that became the Blood Angels. The Blood Angels, instead of raging all the time, decided to really, really, really get into their art. So much so that they would take over an entire planet because that planet had a mineral on it that if you crushed it into a powder, it made the most perfect red color. Or one Blood Angel would, he was into woodworking, he would go down to a planet that grew this one particular tree and make the planet just grow that tree everywhere. Because it worked so well for his art. They obsessed over art that much.
Yeah, it was a useful way to channel some of their rage. And as Ruby said, he basically earned their respect and forged this connection with them and turned them around completely. So the Blood Angels became known in their combat style for one...
Gamera?
Yeah?
She can't hear you.
Answer the phone.
Oh!
Give her a second. Someone's trying to call her kids.
Okay.
And the kids aren't picking up, so it's constantly ringing in her ear.
Okay. I will push pause.
Answer the phone.
Roland, you gotta answer, buddy.
Brenna, answer the phone.
There. No, don't. Roland! Can you guys give us, like, just a few moments? We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be
After
right
these
back.
messages, yes.
I deeply. I'm very, very sorry about that.
Quite all right.
Alright, alright. So, we ready to continue again?
Yes.
Yes, we are ready.
All right. So where we left off, the Blood Angels are really, really, really into art. They like making art. It's how they channel their passion, their anger. And now we're being raided.
Raid!
Aaron is raiding us for free. Welcome, Raiders. My name is Ruby Mad Hatter. I am a variety streamer. Today is Tabletop Tuesday, where we talk about some sort of nerd topic. Today, we're educating our friend, Lady Naja, on the Blood Angels.
Hi, welcome to the chat.
And we're doing so with the assistance of my partner in crime, Candid Gamera.
Yes, I have been a Blood Angel player for many years.
Many years. Many, many years. We got Dancing Kirby in the chat.
Woo! Dancing Kirby rave.
Okay. So, yeah. So, like I said, the Blood Angels are very artistic. The best way to describe them, since I know you're a Vampire the Masquerade player, Toreadors.
Yeah.
They're very Toreador.
God damn it, you're right.
It's like if you took a Bruja and a Toreador and combined them, and you threw them at something.
To be fair, they are not the most Toreador of the Space Marine legions.
That is true. They're not.
They are the most Toreador of the Loyalist ones, though.
Yeah, they are the most Toreador of the Loyalists, and they're also not the angriest legion, but they are the angriest Loyalist legion.
Yes.
That is important to note, because if you want angry for the angriest legion, then that would be the World Eaters, and if you want the most Toreador, that is the Emperor's Children.
Yes.
All right, we can cover those guys later.
Yeah. I was veering off towards the fighting style of the Legion. From their Primarch, the Blood Angels have inherited an affinity for aerial combat, so they make excellent pilots, and they also use jetpacks or jump packs to careen into assaults.
Yeah, there we go. Jump packs.
Yeah. Yeah.
They jump really far.
So, yeah, the classic Blood Angel like Marine is a guy with a jump pack and a chainsword and a pistol jumping at the enemy to get right in their face and cut up as many of them as he can.
Now, a chainsword, by the way, is a chainsaw sword that cuts you while you're cutting.
Yo, dog, I heard you like cutting.
There's no other way to describe it. It is a chainsaw sword. There's also a chainsaw axe.
Yes, yeah.
So, it's weird, but it works.
Okay, I'm trying. Do you have a picture of this chainsaw axe? Because I'm like.
Oh, you want a chain axe? Okay. Chain axe, 40k. Let's see. There we go.
Oh Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a chain axe.
Oh.
You gotta try to remember, this game... Oh, okay. Haru did a check-in. Thank you for the check-in, Haru.
A lot of the weapons in 40k operate on Rule of Cool.
And operate on ridiculousness. Remember what we said earlier. This game was originally satire. So the weapons apply to it as well.
Yes.
It is dumb as hell. Like, let me give you an idea of a weapon scale we're talking about here. The humans in the setting use something called the Humble Lasgun. It is a laser rifle. Alright?
Yes.
It blows arms off at the shoulder. It can blow like basketball-sized holes in concrete. It never jams. Fires always correctly. Amazing weapon. In modern day. In Warhammer 40k, it is jokingly referred to as a flashlight.
Yes. The standard Space Marine weapon, the bolt gun, essentially the bolts that it fires are small rocket-propelled grenades.
Let's see if I can find an image of the bullet. Yeah, here we go. There's bolt gun ammunition. There we go. There we go. That's a bolt gun. That's the ammunition.
Mommy.
It is like someone took a assault rifle, combined it with an RPG, and made a weapon.
Yeah.
And
that's standard.
That's standard Space Marine weapons.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is the universe you're in. Welcome. So anyway, the Blood Angels love... Yeah. Blood Angels love getting into melee.
Mm-hmm.
Very much their shtick. They like flying into melee, going into slashing the everlasting crap out of everything, and just eating it up. In some cases, literally.
Yes. And Ruby was talking about how each of the Primarchs inherited some aspect of the Emperor. I believe I've heard it said that Sanguinius might have been the one that inherited just the Emperor's general nature to the greatest degree.
I've heard he also absorbed the Emperor's fury.
That's true. That's true. But he's noteworthy amongst the Primarchs. Like, these are 18, or again, asterisk 19 dudes who are superhuman on every level. They have custom crafted souls, apparently. Like, they are on some level warp beings themselves. Just built from the ground up to be these superhuman beings. And amongst those guys, Sanguinius is probably the best with a sword. Like, if you get in a fight with Sanguinius, you're not getting out of it unless you're cheating somehow.
Yeah, it's not going to go well for you.
Which will become relevant later on as we move into the Horus Heresy bits.
Oh yeah, which I think we're about to get into.
Yes! So, as Ruby said earlier, the gods of chaos saw what the Emperor was doing and realized, hey, if he kind of unifies the galaxy under his rule, there's not going to be a whole lot of chaos for us to mess with. It might diminish our power. So they started working on the weakest members of the Primarch family to try and find a way in. And Ruby also mentioned earlier that at one point the Emperor was so incensed about a cult that had been formed to worship him that he essentially destroyed an entire city. That's not even all of it. Basically, one of the Primarchs ended up on a planet that was very religious and basically was raised to be very religious. And when he met the Emperor, he assumed the Emperor to be a living god and began to secretly worship him. When the Emperor found out, the Emperor came to the planet that guy had started his cult on, basically used his psychic powers to make that Primarch and his entire legion kneel down before him as he destroyed the false idols that they had constructed.
The best way to describe this is as if someone basically went to Jerusalem and leveled it in front of every religion that considered that city sacred.
While simultaneously psychically humbling them.
Yeah. It's like, oh boy. So
in 40k lore, this is probably mistake number 2 for the Emperor.
Yeah, the second big mistake.
Because that Primarch... the number 1 being just his disdain of religion and disdain for teaching people about the warp, keeping it secret. Number 2 was really, really pissing off Lorgar, who is the Primarch in question.
So Logar got in touch with the Chaos Gods because they want worship. They want that, care that he wanted to give. And he kind of manipulated Horus and caused Horus to fall, which then Horus got all the other bros on the line that wanted to join him, the other 7.
You're
8.
You're skipping a bit. So there was one of Lorgar's Marines who initially made contact with the Chaos Gods, Erebus, chaplain. And Erebus was the one who introduced Lorgar. But the thing about Lorgar that the Emperor didn't realize is that Lorgar was desperate to worship anything. Like, his soul had been shaped in such a way that he couldn't not worship something. And so if the Emperor rejected his worship, he'd find something else. And then here is one of his little Marines going, "Hey, buddy, have you thought about the Chaos Gods? They're pretty cool." And so that brought in Lorgar, and then it begun to spread secretly amongst the other legions. Now, to be fair, it is said that there were Chaos worshippers amongst most of the legions, and there were loyalists amongst all of the legions. No legion had every Space Marine in them going, yeah, Chaos, cool. So yeah, it spread and spread, and basically with Horus, the problem was that Horus represents the Emperor's pride and ambition. And that is a recipe for a downfall. And he was teetering for a long time until the Chaos Gods sent a special assassin with a special magical blade to strike him down. And they put him on the very edge of death, and they showed him in death a vision. They showed Horus a future where the Emperor was ruling, and he and his brothers were cast down, forgotten, their names erased, and discarded. And he basically, this vision turned him against the Emperor, him not knowing that him turning against the Emperor would be what brought about this very vision. So Horus had been previously, and I guess I do have to back up for a second, at a certain point in the Great Crusade, after he'd found all the Primarchs, the Emperor's like, you know what, you guys finish uniting humanity, I'm going to go back to Earth and work on a project because, hey, this warp travel shit's pretty dangerous. What if we had a cool way to get through the warp safely, like these space elves do? Because the Eldar had a way to move through the warp safely called the Webway. It's essentially, think of it as a network of tunnels going through the warp that are sealed off from the worst parts of it. And he wanted to construct a human version of that so humanity could faster than light travel safely. So he went home to work on that, and he picked one of his sons to be in charge of the whole crusade, and he picked Horus.
Yeah, well, which, that bit him in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, basically you had all 18 of them, prideful, squabbling with each other, like, it should have been me, except Sanguinius, who was just totally chill about it. I mean, I think Vulcan was okay with it too. There's some of them that didn't want it, but a lot of them were like, yeah, I should have been the one, because I'm better at this, or I should have been the one. So you had these divisions, but eventually, with that vision and his near-death experience, Horus fully turned to the gods of chaos and began plotting his betrayal of the Emperor. So many of the Primarchs were approached with offers. Some of them responded favorably. Others were tricked into horrible, disastrous ambushes, decimating their legions. With the Blood Angels, Horus said, hey, there's this Cygnus sector that's got all kinds of trouble going on. I need you guys to go check it out. Because he knew that there were chaos demons there waiting to ambush the Blood Angels. And not suspecting anything, Sanguinius led his Blood Angels on this crusade to the Cygnus sector. And that's where they first met, well, I won't say they met Khorne, but that they met their chief nemesis servant of Khorne, Kabanda. Now, what you need to know about Khorne is that, like all the other Chaos Gods, he has particular favored forms for his servants. And the greatest servants of Khorne are called Bloodletters, and if you've seen Lord of the Rings, they look like Balrogs. They're just big, nasty, winged devils. You can think of them as pit fiends. That works too. But basically just big, nasty, classic brute demons. And Kabanda was one of the greatest. And Kabanda was, as Ruby alluded earlier, sent to tempt Sanguinius to like, hey, you could stay here forever. You could rule this sector. All you need to do is just decide not to go back. Just stay here. And Sanguinius was having none of that.
Nope.
He and the Blood Angels have fought Kabanda a number of times, and at least on one occasion, and I forget exactly which fight this was, but apparently they were dueling in the air because Cabanda and Sanguinius can both fly, and basically Sanguinius got Cabanda in like an atomic suplex and basically just took him from low Earth orbit down to the ground. So,
But here's the real question: can he suplex a train?
he probably can, but it depends on the size of the train.
That's fair. No.
Is it a ghost train?
I mean, is there any other type that you can suplex?
Yes, that's true. So yeah, that was sort of the temptation of Sanguinius, basically Cabanda saying, hey, you've seen the visions of your death. You can avoid that. You can stay here, you can have all kinds of battles to fight, but Sanguinius would not have it. And yeah, that's when things started to turn, and the Blood Angels headed back towards Earth because Horus had decided to move his allies in towards Holy Terra. At the time, it was just Earth or Terra. They didn't have the Holy part yet.
That comes later.
Yeah. So basically, they gathered their forces. They laid siege to Terra. 2 of the Space Marine legions were there to defend it at the time. The Imperial Fists and the Blood Angels, who had just made it back. And basically, they, for days, I think even weeks, fought off the forces of chaos at the Imperial Palace. Like, one of the turned Primarchs, Angron, the Lord of the World Eaters, one of the most fearsome melee combatants in the galaxy, himself essentially turned into a semi-demonic thing that resembled one of the Bloodletters. Essentially a Primarch juiced up with demon juice. Sanguinius kicked his ass off the palace. So yeah, they fought for days unending, and Horus at a certain point realized, shit, reinforcements from the Loyalists are inbound. If I don't get this done now, it's not happening. So what Horus did was he issued a challenge to the Emperor and his loyal Primarchs. He lowered the shields of his battle barge, his ship, and said, come get me. And so the Emperor, Rogaldorn, the Primarch of the Imperial Fists, Sanguinius, and a couple other loyal custodians teleported up to the Vengeful Spirit, which was Horus's flagship, to try and fight him. And that's where it all goes wrong, because the first person to find Horus was Sanguinius. And Horus, in addition to being one of the mightiest of the Primarchs, had now been blessed by the 4 Chaos Gods. And that is a picture that Ruby is showing right now.
Give me a second. I got Stepbrink answer. The game that's being played is Rimworld. That's what I'm playing in the background. You guys can buy characters, do things in it, all that jazz. The lore that's coming at you is Warhammer 40k, as we are educating Lady Naja in Warhammer 40k. All right.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting.
No. I totally get it. So Sanguinius was the first to find Horus. They exchanged words. Horus was, at this point, fully corrupt, as indicated by the fact that he, barely hesitated to strike down the brother. Like, Sanguinius was his favorite brother. He loved him like none of the other Primarchs. But at this point, he was so far gone that they just went to swords. And even powered up as he was, Sanguinius managed to land a few blows against Horus before being struck down. According to the lore, he managed to put a hole through Horus's armor that the Emperor would later exploit. But Sanguinius dies, and the Emperor shows up with some of the others. They have a great epic battle between the Emperor and Horus, and the Horus is basically tearing apart even the Emperor, because, he's basically that powered up. And between the death of Sanguinius and the casual, murder that he sees with some of the other allies that came with him towards Horus's barge, the Emperor realizes that Horus is irredeemable and psychically annihilates him. Basically focuses a psychic blast through the hole in his armor and extinguishes his soul. So Horus is one of the few Primarchs that is actually completely eradicated, because the Emperor essentially unmade him.
Yeah, he is dead.
But the wounds that the Emperor sustained were way too much. His loyalist forces took him back down to the palace. They put him on the Golden Throne, which had life support built in, and he issued a few final orders before lapsing into basically barely being able to communicate sporadically through psychic means. He is essentially 99% dead at this point. But that Golden Throne keeps his life functions just barely together enough to allow him to do two things. One, he serves as the guiding light of the Astronomican, and two, there's a massive warp breach underneath Terra that would blow wide open if it wasn't for the Emperor on the Golden Throne. Part of the Webway experiment that went awry. So, if the Emperor ever dies, Terra might be completely consumed in chaos. So that brings us up to the Horus Heresy, the death of Horus, the death of Sanguinius, the apparent death of the Emperor, and that lets us get into the last important aspect of the Blood Angels as a legion. When Sanguinius died, all of them felt it psychically in their soul. And it gave them their other main flaw, which is the Black Rage. So, whenever a Blood Angel, or any chapter that has succeeded from them, because after the Horus Heresy, the big 100,000-man chapters were broken up in... The legions were broken up into chapters of no more than about 1,000. But anyone descended from Sanguinius knows the flaw of the Black Rage, which basically means at a certain point, if they become too lost in their anger and fury, they will suffer a psychic hallucination that they themselves are Sanguinius in that final confrontation with Horus, and they can no longer effectively distinguish friend from foe and become just absolute berserkers that, at the best, they can be pointed at the enemy. So yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Red Thirst and the Black Rage. Those are the twin flaws of the Blood Angels Legion. And if you fall to the Black Rage, you are inducted into what is called the Death Company, where the chapter's chaplains basically can get through to you enough to essentially point you at the enemy in the hopes that you will die an honorable death. And if you don't die an honorable death, then it's their job to put you down before you become a danger to the other members of the chapter.
Yeah.
So they can literally never come out of it.
No.
Well,
one guy did.
Actually, 1.5, let's say.
There's always
that one guy.
All right.
Do you have a picture?
I don't have a picture of the guy that did it, but I do have a
Okay.
picture of the guy who his job is to execute people in the Black Rage.
Yes.
That
so
is this dude.
This is Asterath the Grim. He is the head chaplain of the Blood Angels in the 40k timeline. So this is 10,000 years after the Horus Heresy, which is roughly 30k. 10,000 years later, this is Asterath. And those aren't natural wings, by the way. Those are, I believe, mechanical attached to his jump pack. So it is not that he is a mutant. But he has this bone-handled power axe that he uses to slay enemies, and if one of the brothers of the Death Company becomes too lost, it's his job to put them out of their misery. And that's him as well.
Yeah. The problem is he has a natural sense of where the Black Rage is going to happen, and he shows up there. And it happens so often that some people suspect he is the cause of the Black Rage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the idea of, like, if you have a foresight of, like, basically house fires, and you keep showing up so many house fires, people are going to suspect you in arson.
Yeah.
Kind of the same idea. So, I don't think I have the guy that you were talking about.
All right. I mean, you could probably Google Mephiston.
Mephiston, that's what it was.
Yeah, M-E-P-H.
M-E-P-H. You know, I could probably spell it wrong, and they'll give me the image anyway. There he is.
Yeah, that's my boy.
That's your boy. There's my boy.
Mephiston is a librarian, and in Space Marine parlance, that means he is a trained user of psychic powers. And in his former life, he used to go by the name Brother Callisterius, and he was fighting orcs on a planet. when he essentially got caught under a collapsing building. He had succumbed to the Black Rage and then was trapped under a building. So essentially, he was pinned down for days as this unbridled fury just consumed his entire mind. And at a certain point, he just got through it. Like, he pushed through and came out the other side. No one else has ever done that. And it did change him, because now he calls himself Mephiston, Lord of Death. Like, he saw psychic visions when he was in the throes of the Black Rage. But he's under control, but he's not entirely trusted by some of his brothers just because of his dark reputation.
Yeah, he's like, it's just.
And the other half case I mentioned is another chaplain, Brother Lamartes. Lamartes was, a chaplain. He succumbed to the Black Rage. Astaroth showed up and was getting ready to put him out of his misery. And Lamartes was like, "No, wait, I can control it." So physiologically, Lamartes is in the Black Rage. Like, he's got the heightened adrenaline. He's got the visions, but he also can see like what is true. So he is just barely teetering on the edge of control of the Black Rage. He hasn't worked through it like Mephiston has. He still has it, but he still is able, especially embedded with other members who are fully infected with it, he's able to guide the brothers who kind of sense that kindred spirit in him. And so thus far, Astaroth has not had to put him down.
Yeah.
Basically, after battles, they essentially put him in cryostasis until he's needed again.
Yeah, that's always fun.
So do we know if Mephiston can fall to the Black Rage again?
Or is it like
he fought through it once and he's good now?
Supposedly he cannot fall to it again. I think there was at least one novel where someone was trying to push him to it again, but it's not one that I've fully read. I've just seen excerpts. But it seems like, barring truly exceptional circumstances, he is immune.
Yeah. Now remember, we did mention that Sanguinius is also dead ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sanguinius is dead.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. He's another one of the Primarchs that we are pretty much 100% certain is dead as hell and is not coming back.
Yeah. I'm more optimistic. I'm more optimistic than you are.
Squidgy, in order to buy, you have to do exclamation point buy and then check.
There you go. Get some of that delicious chicken meat. So Sanguinius's body is definitely deceased. It is in the custody of the Blood Angels. However, one of the things that surrounds the Blood Angels, one of the other characters that you can have in your army and that is in their lore, is called the Sanguinor. It is a golden armored warrior that shows up in the times of their direst need to help bail them out. And it is believed that that might be some aspect of Sanguinius's soul still protecting his children.
Yeah.
So theoretically, his soul is still available. His body is nominally available. So if you could find a way to fix it and put his soul back in there. Yep.
All right. So apparently, there's a vote now for what level of invasion are we talking? Medium raid, small raid, or a siege?
I'll be nice.
I was like, please be nice. I just dealt with like fucking big ass bears.
Big ass bears.
Yeah, their corpses are still lining my area.
Let's see. So
Nobody shames the bears. That's not nice.
that's true. Yeah. Blood Angels are also known for being one of the more long-lived Space Marines. Like, a Space Marine on its own devices can live for 1,000 years because they're just, genetically engineered. They've got these extra organs. But at a certain point, it does begin to break down. That said, the Blood Angels do find actual rejuvenation effects from the drinking of blood. So they do get a little bit of a life extension there. And their current leader, the chapter master, Dante...
I think I have a picture of him.
Yes, you should. Dante is 2,000 years old. He is the oldest living space marine who is not on active life support.
Is that him? That looks
Yeah.
like him. Yeah, that's him. I wanted to be sure it was him. I was like, yeah, that's him.
He wears the death mask of Sanguinius and wields the axe mortalis.
Yeah, he big golden boy. The other thing I want to point out with something about Warhammer 40k that's kind of important, though a lot of people don't notice it until you start reading into the lore. If you're a named character, you tend to basically survive until another named character runs into you. And it depends on which named character is more important. Alright, so when your chapter has a lot of named characters, it means you have a lot higher chance of survival. There's only one chapter of Space Marines that has more named characters than the Blood Angels. And that is our little blue fuckery pop of called the Ultramarines.
Now, to be fair, there are a couple who are close.
There are a couple who are close, but I will say, when it comes to number of named characters in Space Marines, it is Ultramarines and then the Blood Angels under them.
Yeah. The Dark Angels and Space Wolves both do very respectably, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that they do, and it is very, very useful. So there is that. All right, so they're coming. Looks like they're on their way. Oh, this is gonna get fun real quick.
So that was a big data dump, Nadja. Do you have questions?
I don't really know if I have any questions. You guys did a really, really good job of explaining it. Like, this is why I love nerds. You can learn so much. I'm glad I picked this faction because it's really interesting. And, a friend of mine was thinking about hopping on the stream. Unfortunately, he's a closing manager tonight, so he couldn't. But he's a huge 40k fan, and his exact comment was something along the lines of, hang on, I'll pull it up here real quick, because I've posted about this on my Facebook. Blood Angels are awesome and aesthetically just perfect for you. So, after listening, I 100% see where he drew that conclusion from. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys because you really made things like both interesting and clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we were able to help in that regard. I will say, I got started with 40k back, I think it's almost 15 years at this point, and I bought one of the starter sets. And because I was playing D&D with the guy who played 40k, and sometimes at the D&D table he'd be painting his models while we played. I was just like, those are really cool models. Maybe I should get into it. So I bought a starter set that had some Space Marines and Orcs in it, and then I wanted to try to decide, okay, which faction of Space Marines do I want to play? And I looked at the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels, and was like, their aesthetics are a little more customized than some of the others, because the Space Wolves are all about wolf pelts and runes and Viking shit, and the Dark Angels are all about hoods and robes. I'm like, these guys don't really look like either of those, so I could play one of the other Space Marine chapters, and there are 9 other loyalists, and I was like, I'll do Blood Angels, because Blood Angels are red, and red's my favorite color. So that's how I got into them.
That's a really valid reason to choose anything.
Yeah.
Because it's your favorite color. Honestly, my two reasons for choosing pretty much anything is aesthetic or is it funny.
Yeah.
All right. So based on what you've learned today, what 4 groups would you like to learn about? Or was there anything in our discussion, our quick overview of the Horus Heresy, the various Space Marine chapters, all that jazz?
There is a part of me that almost wants to hear more about like Horus and things like that because one of those, hear the other side kind of things. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Horus and his chapter.
Yes.
All right, so we got that.
Mm,
Let's see what else.
trying to think.
And of course, the ones from the original list are still eligible. We can definitely focus in on those.
Yep.
Was what the Gene Stealer cults were still an option. The
Mm,
Chaos Space
Dark
Marines in
Eldar.
general.
It was Dark Eldar, Chaos Space Marines, and Gene Stealers.
Okay.
Definitely put the Dark Eldar back on there because they were the second vote getting us through.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain. Well, hold on, Gene, whatever. Because I feel like no one's going to vote for them. So it's pointless.
Well, if you want to go for the bigger overarching group, we could do Tyranids, which is the bugs.
Oh yeah, the bug people. That's always fun. Bug.
It is difficult to explain the Gene Stealers without first explaining the Tyranids anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, put those on there.
All right. And how about, like, for the last one, an overview of just all the chapters? Like, just a quick overview so you can hear about all of them, and then narrow it down.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fair. I'm down with that.
And may I suggest one tweak, Ruby, for the Dark Eldar? I think it might be appropriate to also discuss the Eldar at the same time. So just Eldar and Dark Eldar.
Yeah, I would agree, though I would like to, as much as I want to keep the Dark Eldar on there, maybe education on the Chaos Gods might be more important first.
I mean, maybe. The Chaos Gods, I feel like it's really easy to understand them on a basic level. They're very broadly defined.
Yeah, I guess we could just stick with the Eldar, Dark Eldar, and when we cover them, we will touch base on the Prince of Excess, Slanesh, because that person, because it's a he, she, it, everything.
Yes.
Basically is very involved with the Dark Eldar and the Eldar.
Yeah, I mean, not to spoil too much, but basically the Eldar Party Day Chaos God into existence.
Yeah, they murder fucking God into existence.
Yeah.
That went badly.
Oh boy.
Alright, so we have our 4 options. I'll be posting these here in a bit on Twitch. As soon as the stream is over, I'll be doing that. So that way we have that covered, and you guys will get to vote. So if you go onto my Twitter, sorry, not on Twitch, it'll be on my Twitter, sorry.
Yep.
If you find my Twitter, it's under the same name, Ruby Mad Hatter. You will, and there'll be the links on my Discord as well to it. You guys can vote on which thing we teach Naja next. Because, oh boy, there are some options there.
Yay!
The other thing I want to point out with the Blood Angels is explanation of the Space Marines, real quick. And it's not a lore explanation, this is a gameplay explanation. Because I did want to at least cover a little bit of the tabletop setting. And that is, like, we explained that the Blood Angels are really good at melee, things of that nature. With that being said, the best way to describe Space Marines, they are kind of a jack of all trades, really good at all of them. And on tabletop, they fuck. They fuck hard. Like, they will utterly wreck everything. There's a quote for the Space Marines as general when it comes to the Emperor that he said about them. It's like, they are my finest warriors. I will give unto them machines and tactics that no foe can best them in battle. I'm trying to remember the whole quote. God. I just had it in my head too. They'll have some tactics and strategies that no foe could best in battle. They are my bulwark against terror. They are my Space Marines, and they shall know no fear. Alright?
Okay.
They are crazy, crazy potent. Now, there are other factions in the Imperium, as well as outside the Imperium, that do different things better than them. Like, if you want to talk about speed, you got the Eldar. Eldar are very, very fast. Space Elves. If you want to talk about sheer sundering firepower, the Tau are really hard to beat. Like, they're really good at shooting.
Yeah, the Tau got very good at shooting because they're afraid to let anyone within 30 yards of them.
Well, I mean, you can't get into, melee's not important if you can't get there alive.
Exactly.
So that is an important thing. But Blood Angels on the tabletop are some of the most versatile guys. The only ones that are technically more versatile than them, I would say, is the Ultramarines. But that is...
yeah.
But I was going to say, the reason why the Ultramarines are better than them at, well, everything, is because the Ultramarines are really, really, really good at logistics.
I sent you a video that you can share on the stream if you like. You've seen it.
Oh yeah, Tau and Melee. Give me a second, I'll share this. Alright.
One of my favorites.
Yep. I gotta hide us. Give me a second. There's our little Tau dude. He's like, I have a sword! Oh, god damn it! I gotta restart the video because we had an ad break.
Oh!
God damn it!
Timing.
Timing, man.
You do not have a sword.
Naja's son is screaming in the background, I have a sword! It's adorable. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm repairing my dudes. Everything's coming in. Did I get... Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, okay. Tornado went away. Okay, cool. Tornado hit the edge of the map and then glitched out.
Nice.
I'll take it. No more tornadoes, please.
Tornado.
Alright, what do we got left? 11 hours until I get how many of those? 148 components. I need that. Oh my god, I need components. I need components of plasteel right now. Okay, so I didn't lose the robot, so that's a good thing. Not battle droid. God damn it. I don't want more battle droids. I want more worker droids. Alright. I am having a power issue, and that will hopefully be resolved soon. Alright, everybody's back. Alright, let's see the Tau and Melee.
Yay!
Ow! It's a Space Marine! Fight it!
Poor little fire warrior.
He's living his best life, man. Fuck you.
Just the splatter on his fist.
It's just bonk.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's accurate. The Tau are horrifyingly bad at melee.
Yeah.
But the Space Marines are really good at it. Especially Blood Angels. Blood Angels are... I feel like out of all the Space Marine chapters, they may be the second best at melee.
Meaning who's first?
The angry ones.
I mean, it depends. The angry ones are very good at melee, but they're not very good at smart melee, whereas Blood Angels add a little intelligence in with their fury.
That's true.
Of the Loyalists Marines, they're definitely... them and the Space Wolves are the only ones that I'd consider truly super melee threats.
Excluding Kato Sicarius.
Oh, Kato Sicarius can blow me.
He's this super arrogant dude in the Ultramarines, like super fucking arrogant, and thinks he's like the best warrior in all of, the Imperium.
Thanks to plot armor, he kind of is.
Yep. AP is
Hey,
here. AP, you missed most of the lesson today for the the Blood Angels. We were educating Naja. You could go back and watch the video. Trust me, it was mildly entertaining, I'd say. Naja learned a lot. And we're doing a vote on which one's going to be next on Twitter. And the 4 options here on screen, I will put them also in chat so that people understand. Okay, that didn't work out right. But, okay, so it's going to be the Horus and his chapter, the Dark Elder / Eldar, Tyranids, and all the Space Marine chapters. Like a quick overview of all of them.
Yes.
And what they're about.
So is
this going to be next week, or are we taking time off in between, or what are we doing?
It depends on your schedule. As me and Gamera are kind of like usually here anyway. If there is a time where we don't do it, like because say Gamera's busy, or like you're busy, I could always do a chill session where I just play some sort of random game.
Yep, or we can spin the wheel.
Or yeah, we could spin the wheel. So it's up to you. Are you busy next week?
Not to
my knowledge.
Okay.
That's Thanksgiving.
That's Thanksgiving week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I have anything going on.
Yeah, we will be having stream on the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd. I will be doing that. There will be no special Thanksgiving stream, so please keep that in mind. I'm out of power. Oh no.
What?
He's out of power.
Yeah, I'm out of power.
Oh, I'm not out of power.
Ruby wants his thing. Okay, so that's great and all, but I feel like I can wait. But power will come here shortly. The biggest thing I'm hurting for in this game is 2 things: components and plasteel. I need plasteel for the fusion things up here. I need a lot of plasteel. And I need components for this up here, solar generators.
Yeah.
So I need a lot of components.
Why are you listening to the House of the Rising Sun? I mean, it's a good song, but why are you listening
Did
to
they
it?
finish this? No, of course not. Where? Janet, what are you doing? Oh, they're repairing shit. Okay.
My
Try-
son
just turned on the House of the Rising Sun of his own volition,
and
and apparently loves it.
He's dancing to
The
it.
original, not the Viking Death Punch version. Or wait, no.
Yes?
Whatever.
He was 5 Finger Death Punch. Read it.
The modern version.
Yeah. It's a good song.
Oh yeah, it's a good song. Very classic.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I love it. That's why I downloaded it on my phone and subsequently his tablet.
I am gonna say that out of the 4 options, the one I know best out of this one, I would say for me is going to be the Tyranids. I know Tyranids the best out of those 4. With the one I know the weakest is, I'm gonna say, oh god damn it, Squidgy. The weakest one being Horus and his chapter. I'm not as educated on that as I am the other 3 options.
Yes. I want to point out that I really like you said Horus and his chapter, because I think they've had more names than any other legion.
Yeah. Horus's chapter changes names frequently.
I think it's to somebody.
So, that's why I put Horus and his chapter, because I know I know of at least 3 names.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not that well educated on it, so I guarantee you there's more.
So is there
a story about why they've had so many different names?
If we go into it, trust me, we will discuss that, because there are multiple reasons why that has happened, including Horus being dead ass.
Yeah. Yeah, that one of their name changes was after Horus died.
And it seems
Valid.
it seems like every time someone important dies in their chapter, they go through a rebranding.
We talked to some focus groups. We don't think that our current image is working well for us.
Yeah, we're not quite sounding as bloodthirsty and scary as we should. I mean, even though our main phrase is "Let the seas boil and the stars burn." I mean, it sounds like we need to do a slight rebranding there.
Yeah.
I will say on the tabletop though, for Space Marine chapters, the Blood Angels are the second most mobile Space Marines. With first only being the White Scars.
Yes. Yes.
Because the White Scars are the textbook definition of I don't think I have a medical condition called gotta go fast.
So I guess since we're reaching the end of this, towards the end of the stream, I will mention one of my favorite theories. One of the abilities in the game, like the actual tabletop game, that Blood Angels have long had is supposedly their tanks and vehicles have access to special modified engines that they don't share with the Imperium at large. They're called Lucifer pattern engines. They just go faster. And I've always had this theory, because one of the jokes of the Orc faction is red ones go faster. Because the orcs believe that if you paint a vehicle red, it goes faster. It's kind of joking on the whole red sports car thing. I've always believed that the psychic collective belief of the orcs that red ones go faster are why the Blood Angels have these special engines. It's not that the engines are special, it's just that so many orcs believe that they are.
Oh yeah, it's just like, wait a minute. It's like this is a little weird.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about the orcs, but I want to hold off on them for a little bit and get through some of these other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? You don't like talking about the green is the bestest, Humi?
The orcs are so much fun. They're the only Xeno faction that I play. But yeah, they're just the best.
Alright, I will say the factions that I enjoy. I have my top three factions with a close fourth. My top faction is the Tau.
Uh-huh.
My second faction is the Imperial Guard. In particular, I'm a Kriegsman.
Uh-huh.
I love the Deathcore Krieg.
Yeah. Gas masks and shovels.
Gas masks and shovels because, hey, shovel's still a weapon. My third faction is the Orcs for my favorite faction. And then a close fourth is the Necrons. Only because of Trazyn.
Yeah. Trazyn's pretty cool.
Just straight up, if Trazyn was his own faction, he would be fourth for me.
Fair.
And that is, Trazyn is hilarious. And we will eventually get to Trazyn. And I'm fairly certain that episode will be stolen by him for his collection. As I made that joke before.
Yes.
It's, oh my god. Hey, the facehugger squeal went off. Thank God. Gods be praised. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Okay, that's all down there. Cool. Alright. Oh my god. Alright, so we are slowly getting things together. It looks like I have a positive energy source. Why? Well, that's not done yet. I know I have things. Where? Oh, you're building the solar generators. Okay, I'll take that. And what is my research going? Okay, so we got the robots being made.
It's bedtime, Roland.
And then we'll have the advanced power sources, which means now I have robots.
Whose birthday?
Where are you? There you are.
Really?
I can make a cleaner, level 5. I really don't want to use all my plasteel, though, because I need plasteel. But I have a crap load of steel. And I don't need crazy amounts of those things. But I need robotic components, so I'll wait for that to get done. That's important. Oh, by the way, one thing we forgot to mention about the Space Marines, and this is kind of somewhat important. They don't really care about people.
Okay.
They look at themselves and go, I am worth the equivalent of an F-35 jet. It takes so many resources to make me that sacrificing all of these civilians, all of these soldiers that are not Space Marines, honestly is worth it compared to saving my life. I will live, let them die. They're expendable.
Well, it's not even necessarily that it's the selfish. It's like they think of it in terms of, if I live, the Imperium has a better chance of living, even if it means these 100 normal people must die, because I am that valuable. It's not necessarily like cowardice or anything like that. They're not afraid to die. They're not afraid to die in defense of millions of Imperial citizens either. It's just that they recognize that, tactically speaking, they might need to be the ones that come out of there. But some legions are better about how they treat civvies.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that later, but I did want to point out that, like, for them, it's kind of like a cold calculation.
Right. Life is cheap in the 41st millennium.
Squidgy, is that N7 Steph? Because you put 7 Steph 01, and I was like, I found one that was N7 Steph 01. So I think that's who he wants me to rate. Yep, I missed a life. Yep. Okay, cool. I found the right person. Awesome. I just wanted to be sure I found the right person. That was important. So there's that. So with that being said, let me pause this game. I'm going to save it. By the way, the name of this colony is called Mechanists Unlimited. There is the ability for magic, but we are not using it in this colony for the most part. We're trying to avoid it. So there is that. Alright, so we're going to raid someone called N7 Steph. I'm going to follow them real quick so I can find them. Alright. Let me move this over here. Just chatting. There we go. Alright. So, if you are one of my many followers, please use the following raid message when we raid N7 Steph. If you're one of my subscribers, please use the following raid message. Please remember to take care of yourself mentally and physically. That's always important. And I know you come to my wonderful tavern for the wondrous, witty banter, but you always stay for my fuck-ups. Alright? I hope you all guys have a great night. I shall see you tomorrow for Wildcard Wednesday, where we'll finally be playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Woo!
Alright? And so we'll be... Alright, so we'll be seeing the Chaos that creates. Until then, toodles.
Toodles.
Bye.